Well, that's still to come. But now, Birmingham's newest landmark is close to completion. Building the Cube has been one of the region's biggest construction projects.
Yes, the Cube has cost just over £100 million. There are 666 glass panels making up the roof, and when fully occupied, 3,000 people will be either working or living there, something like a small town in itself. Well, it's just behind our studios, looking a little bit like a Lego construction. And our business correspondent, Peter Plisner, is right at the top right now, with a bird's eye view and exclusive access to a building that I have to say you either love or hate.
Yes, thanks, Nick. There certainly have been mixed comments about this building, but when you come up this high, you can't fail to be impressed by the stunning views that you get across Birmingham. At its height, around 500 construction workers are involved in the Cube, but finally this iconic building is nearing completion. The Cube's architect, Ken Shuttleworth, has described his latest creation as an enchanting jewellery box. But whatever you think of it, it certainly gives Birmingham a new iconic landmark.
I think Birmingham needs something like that, really eye-catching.
I quite like it. I think it's quite modern, it fits in.
Do you see an enchanted jewellery box there?
No.
Now clearly visible from many parts of the city, the Cube is the latest in a growing trend for mixed-use buildings.
Well, this is the first glimpse of the public areas of the Cube, 4 levels, the lowest of which is a spa, swimming pool. Make your way up the building through cafe, bars and restaurants, right the way to the top here of small office suites for start-up businesses.
The building also houses more than 200 luxury apartments and has a state-of-the-art car park where a computerised system actually parks your car. But it's 25 floors above that the building really shines. This has to be the most impressive part of the Cube development, not least because of the spectacular views across the city. This space is to be used for a huge restaurant, making it the first publicly accessible rooftop in the whole of the city. But getting the Cube to where it is today hasn't been easy. There have been disputes with contractors and then the whole project went into administration. But now, after a new funding package was put in place, the project's finally nearing completion.
It was really disappointing. It had been a big part of my life for a number of years, so obviously it would be disappointing. But we worked very quickly with the administrators team to get the show back on the road and got the support of all the subcontractors, which was great.
But in a depressed market, can the Cube actually succeed? This Birmingham-based property specialist thinks it can.
The fact that when you go into the building, the views up there are, wow, there's a wow factor. What price do you put on that? It's got a good feeling about it when you're actually in the office space. Obviously not fully completed yet, but when it is, I'm sure it will present very well.
And that completion of the Cube project, which has cost in excess of £100 million, is expected to happen sometime next month. Well, we're on the balcony that will be the balcony for the restaurant, and I can tell you it'll probably be a popular place in the summer. Has fantastic views, again, of the city. You can see Gas Street Basin, you can see the National Indoor Arena, and you can see Brindley Place. Joining me up here is the administrator, Matthew Hammond from Price Cooper Waterhouse. Tell me, Matthew, was there any risk that this project would come to an end, bearing in mind that you don't really want an empty shell in the middle of Birmingham?
Absolutely not. What we want in Birmingham is another iconic building to join Selfridges and New Street when that's developed and the like. The risk with a project like this when it goes into administration is that it does fail, but this is a great news story actually of a project completing during the administration. But it did need support from a number of key parties.
But how tough is it now selling the space? Because, we are still in a recession.
Well, I think the main focus for ourselves at the moment is on completing the building. So with the work of the subcontractors, the management team and the funder behind the project, getting that completed largely on schedule by the end of the summer months, we'll then move into the occupation of space. But let's not forget that the first major tenant of the building actually moved in early May. So there are already 700 people working in the building with the Highways Agency.
Is it unusual, just briefly, for a project like this to go into administration?
For a project of this size and scale, yes, it is really. This is the second type of project that we've done of this nature, and clearly with only 5 months remaining in a 5-year build project, it was really predetermined that we had to complete it.
Matthew, many thanks. Well, I can tell you, if you fancy eating in this restaurant, it'll be open in March next year.
Thanks, Peter, and undoubtedly rather expensive, probably, as well.
There's a special feature about the Cube and more of those spectacular views from the rooftop on the BBC Birmingham website at bbc.co.uk/Birmingham.